Hey everyone, it's time for another story time. I have a really fun guest with me today. This special guest was a donation to our store, which happens sometimes. Sometimes people can't take care of the animals that they have, or they have special circumstances where they move and they can't take them with, or sometimes they can't afford them. And that's fine, we try to help out whenever we can. This big guy, oh, hold on. There we go. Oh. We have a domesticated rabbit. So this one doesn't have a name yet, just because we're getting to know his personality a little bit, but he's very friendly. Just doesn't like it when I move very quick or if there's any loud noises. But for the most part, he's been doing pretty okay. I wanted to use a bunny today because one, a bunny is part of the story that we're gonna read, and it's a Native American story. And most North American animals have really good folklore within Native American stories. So the bunny is that one. Also, it's getting close to springtime. I know it still seems like spring's far away, but we're almost to March, which means it won't be too far out and we will be seeing rabbits out and about. And soon after that, baby bunnies. So this is a good time to remind everybody that if you ever find baby animals outside, especially baby rabbits, you need to leave them. I know sometimes we'll find a nest and think, oh, the mother abandoned it. She didn't. She was out looking for food and then she comes back. We don't want to mess with the babies or anything because then mom might abandon them. Or she can get scared and not come back to the nest in time. Now, a lot of people try to get bunnies as pets when they're babies, not realizing how big they can get. I mean, this is just a domesticated one. You see how much space he takes up, and then you think about how much space that they need to run around and roam. So when people have them as pets, we recommend that they should be out of the cage and running around your living room or your bedroom while you're home. You don't want to leave them cooped up all day. These guys are used to getting lots of exercise. Now, they can make great pets. As you can see, they get very used to people. One thing that really helps is stroking the ears. There's a lot of nerves in there, so this helps calm them down. So I just like to get right in there and just pull the ears a little bit very lightly. And you can see he's like starting to calm down with it. The other is making sure that they have their feet secured underneath them, so I always cradle them. Rabbits don't like being up high. Their legs aren't made for it. They're made for hopping. So if they're up high or they can't get their grip or something's uneven, it can make them very unstable and very scared because of it. But other than that, they're pretty good. So on that note, we're gonna read Rainbow Crow, Retold by Mancy Van Laan. Now, she has a prelude in here about how this story actually is a Native American story. It's a bit long, but basically it goes over how she heard the tale from a Lenape elder named Bill Whippoorwill Thompson. And it's a story that was passed down through generations of Native Americans, and he gave her permission to retell this and then also have somebody animate it. So. It's a really cool story, so we're going to go ahead and read it. We're going to read it to our little bunny friend here. So, long ago, before the two-legged walked to earth, the weather was always warm, and the animals were always happy. But one day something happened to cause the earth to grow cold. Tiny crystals, glittering like diamonds, drifted down from the sky, covering earth with a sparkling softness. The animals, seeing snow for the first time, were not afraid. But soon the snow deepened and Mouse disappeared. The tip of his tail was all the animals could see, and they began to worry. Then Rabbit disappeared. The tips of his ears were all the animals could see, and they worried more. At last they gathered together in a clearing deep inside the forest to talk about the weather. What was needed, they decided, was a messenger to travel at once to the great sky spirit and ask him to stop the snow. But who would be willing to leave Earth to visit the distant place where the sky spirit dwelled? Possum said, "Owl is the wisest. Perhaps he should go." But no, the animals whispered, he might get lost in the light of day, so Owl should not go. Then Beaver said, perhaps Raccoon should go. But no, the animals argued, he might follow his tail instead of his nose, so Raccoon should not go. Then Skunk said perhaps Coyote should go. But no, the animals shouted, Coyote is clever and loves to play tricks. He might chase the clouds or swallow the wind, so Coyote should not go. Scritcha, scritcha, screecha, scratcha, yippa, yappa, yow, hiya, yow. The noisy animals screeched and howled because they could not decide who should visit the great sky spirit to ask him to stop the snow. And so the snow grew deeper and deeper and deeper, and the small animals climbed on top of the tall animals so they would not disappear. Suddenly, down from the top of the tallest tree flew Rainbow Crow, the most beautiful bird on earth, who called out to all the animals below in the sweetest voice of all birds, and he sang, I will go, I will stop the snow. And the animals, happy at last to have Crow as their messenger, chanted a song of praise. Aya, 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 rain, Rainbow Crow, stop the snow, Crow, fly to the sky high, rain, Rainbow Crow, aya, aya, aya. Then high up into the sky flew Rainbow Crow, far above the snow and the winds of the earth, way beyond the moon, the stars, and the clouds. For 3 days Crow flew, until he came upon the great sky spirit, who was too busy to notice. So Rainbow Crow began to sing, O great spirit in the sky, you rule the earth from way up high. You make the creatures large and small, you are the ruler of us all. You make the trees and flowers grow, you cause the wind and clouds to blow. You make the rain, you make the snow, you make the cold on earth below. O great spirit in the sky, for you I sing this lullaby. The great spirit stopped to listen. Never before had he heard such a sweet voice sing such a beautiful song. And he told Crow to choose a gift. Now Crow knew that far below on earth the snow was getting so deep that soon all the animals would disappear. So he asked the great spirit to stop the snow. The great spirit replied, No, Crow, I cannot stop the snow. The snow has a spirit of its own. When Snow Spirit leaves the clouds to visit with his friend the Wind Spirit, the snow will stop, but earth will still be cold. So Crow asked the great spirit to stop the cold. The great spirit replied, No, Crow, I cannot stop the cold. All I can do is give you the gift of fire. Fire will keep you warm and will melt the snow so that your friends will be content until the warm weather returns. The great spirit picked up a stick, put a bit of fire on the end of it, and handed it to the crow. I will give you this gift but once. Hurry, fly back to earth before the fire disappears. Off flew Crow. On the first day as Crow flew down, showering sparks of fire darkened his tail feathers. On the second day as Crow flew down, the fire burned brighter, and the stick grew shorter, and all of Crow's feathers were covered with soot. On the third day as Crow flew down, the fire was so hot and the stick was so short that smoke and ash blew into Crow's mouth, and his voice became cracked and hoarse. Caw, caw. And when at last Crow returned to the clearing in the forest, all the animals had disappeared. Only the tops of the tallest trees could be seen, their branches spouting through the snow. So Crow flew down, close to the pale, pale ground, and around until the fire melted the snow and his friends were safe. And this tiny stick of fire became the grandfather of all fires, and for this all the animals on earth thanked Crow. They danced and chanted a song of praise. Aya, 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 kind, young, brave Crow, saved us from the snow. Flew to the sky high, brought back fire, now just plain Crow, no more rainbow, aya, aya, aya. At last Crow, all alone, flew off to a distant tree where he wept. He was no longer beautiful. He could no longer sing a sweet song. His rainbow feathers were gone forever. When Snow Spirit emptied the clouds and joined Wind Spirit, the snow stopped, but Crow still wept. The great Sky Spirit heard Crow and came down from the sky. When he saw Crow, he said, Soon the two-legged will appear on earth. He will take the fire and be master of all but you. For being so brave and unselfish, I give you the gift of freedom. The two-legged will never hunt you, for your meat tastes like fire and smoke. The two-legged will never capture, for your beautiful voice is now crackly and hoarse. The two-legged will never want your feathers, because your rainbow colors are now black. But your black feathers will shine, and they will reflect all the colors on earth. If you look closely, you will see. Then Crow looked, and he saw hundreds of tiny rainbows shining in his black feathers, and he was content. The Great Spirit returned to his home in the distant sky, and Crow happily returned to his friends in the forest, proud that he was now Black Crow, with shining feathers full of tiny rainbows. Well, that was a super fun story. And just like I've mentioned when I've read some Latin folklore and as well as African folklore and everything else, I love native stories to help explain the different things that we see every single day on Earth. And this also has like a bunch of different things about it, that you don't have to be super colorful and beautiful or have a great voice in order to be special and have meaning to everything around you. And I think Rainbow Crow perfectly illustrated that point. So just because you may think that you're different or don't sound as good as other people or look as other people, it doesn't mean that you don't have any value or worth. You actually have a lot. So it doesn't matter the external looks of you, it matters what's on the inside and what you do. Right, Mun Mun? Yeah? You want your close-up? I know you just want to cuddle. It's a cute little face, though. Yeah. Oh, you want to hide? Okay. Well, have a good night, everybody.